UFC 272, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. We are definitely going to break down this pay-per-view event for you guys. 12 fights, a little bit of a lopsided card for now. As of course, we know the co-main event, Rafael Fiziev versus RDA Dos Anjos. That fight was called off, hoping Islam Makhachev steps in. So we're going to call things the way we see them for now, which is 12 total fights, 8 fights on the prelim, 4 fights currently on the main card. Sure, the order is subject to change. But welcome to the channel, of course, Boxing MMA Picks. He goes by Zan, I go by Harris. As usual, we're giving you our fight-by-fight breakdown and analysis from that betting perspective specifically, letting you know which fights are worth the value, which fights to avoid, which underdog has the best shot at winning, and some parlay action towards the end of the video as well. As usual, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the thumbs up, and most importantly, we want to hear from you in the comments. Like I said, for this pay-per-view card, we're going to start with the first 8 fights that are on the prelim. Some of these prelim fights could definitely make it to the main card if that Islam versus RDA does not happen. So we're going to kind of get right to work here. Fight number 1 of our prelim, we have Dustin Jacoby taking on Michał Oleksiejczuk. Jacoby, he beat John Allen back in November. He's on a 7-fight unbeaten streak. Complete methodical striker. I would give him that nod for sure. He's a pretty good boxer. More importantly, he's a pretty good kickboxer. The chip away with the kicks, good accuracy with his hands, good movement, good counterpunching as well. And his calf kick specifically is a very dangerous weapon. You look at his record at 16 wins, 10 of them are via KO, TKO, but it's more an accuracy thing. It's more an accumulation thing. It's more of a speed thing as opposed to, touch of death power per se. So, someone who's really a sniper on the feet and really dangerous in the stand-up. Taking on Michał Oleksiejczuk, 2-fight win streak against some solid competition. He beat Shamil Gamzatov back in October. He's a southpaw, very quick starter, comes with that high pace right away. He's coming forward at all times. He moves well, a lot of head movement with his punches. Loves that straight left to the body. It's been a weapon for him. It's been a very effective weapon for him. Let me go ahead and correct that. That's what happens when you record with these advertisements that go crazy. As I was saying, Michał Oleksiejczuk, again, likes that left straight to the body. That's a pretty big weapon for him. And again, his biggest thing is that he has that constant pressure, that constant pace, that constant activity. He's a lot to deal with. This fight is staying on the feet, first and foremost, in my opinion. I've been an Oleksiejczuk doubter for the past couple of fights now. Definitely won't doubt him this time around. I think his pressure has been very effective for him, even against guys who may be technically cleaner with their striking, as is the case with this Dustin Jacoby fight. But for the 3rd time in a row, I am going to have to bet against Michał Oleksiejczuk, or Michał Oleksiejczuk, I should say. I think Dustin Jacoby presents maybe a too unique of a challenge for him because Jacoby has been in those kickboxing fights. He's been in those boxing fights as well. And he has shown that he can handle the type of fighter that Oleksiejczuk is. Whereas Shamil Gamzatov, as an example, couldn't really handle the pressure that Oleksiejczuk was giving him. I don't anticipate Dustin Jacoby having an issue with that. Whereas the boxing looked great, I don't anticipate Jacoby being overwhelmed by Michał Oleksiejczuk's boxing. I also anticipate that Jacoby, flat out is just a better striker here with more striking diversity, if nothing else. Slightly taller as well, going to be the slightly bigger fighter. We know Oleksiejczuk is a little bit undersized for this light heavyweight division. So I like Dustin Jacoby here. I think a better striker, more complete striker, can handle the pressure that is Oleksiejczuk's biggest strength. And I have Dustin Jacoby to start the card off here with a win.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a striking match. Obviously, Dustin Jacoby is going to be the bigger guy. Michał Oleksiejczuk, I know I'm saying his name wrong, but he wants to pressure you. He wants to get you on your back foot. He wants to get in close. He wants to throw those hands. He has a left hand that always finds its mark somehow, and he does have power. This is a division where one shot could knock you out. So Michał Oleksiejczuk is super live in this spot because he looks for that knockout. He looks to break fighters, get them to lose their cardio. As they get tired, he's still going at a high pace, and then he kind of overwhelms them or knocks them out. So he's looking to do that in this fight, and I think he has an opportunity to do that. So I think this is a really close fight that can go either way. Ultimately, I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby. He's a high-level kickboxer. If we're looking at a striking match, he should be able to win a decision at least in this spot. But again, these guys are big guys, and Michał has that left hand that finds its mark that can knock anybody out. He's knocked out some guys already in the UFC. And Dustin Jacoby is going to give him that striking match that Michał wants. Michał's going to give Dustin the striking match he wants. So these guys are both in their realm, so anyone can ultimately win this fight. But I got to go with Dustin Jacoby, the slightest margins here, because again, one punch can change the fight. I just think Dustin Jacoby here, all around better striker. He has really good kicks here. I don't think cardio will be an issue in this spot here. And he should be able to outstrike, having the more tools striking wise. Because again, Michał's coming to box. Dustin has the full hands, knees, kicks. He has everything, right? So I'm going to go Dustin with the more tools in the striking area here to get this done. But again, I think this is a tough fight. I think this could be a fight that Michał comes out, lands the bomb, gets the win. But I got to go with Dustin Jacoby for his skills.
All right, let's move on to fight number 2. We have Devonte Smith taking on Ľudovít Klein. Ľudovít Klein, disappointing loss to Nate Landwehr back in October. That's 2 losses in a row now. He's 1-2 in the UFC. Always dangerous when you lose 2 in a row, especially when you're a younger prospect for the most part. He's considered a boxer. He has sharp hands. He's a southpaw in stand-up, which is tricky for some opponents. Good speed and movement on the feet, a lot of in and out. Very quick jab, good combinations as well. Nasty high left high kick as well that he uses and that he resorts to. He has shown me some red flags. 2 fights ago, couldn't really deal with the pressure. I believe that was to Mike Trizano. And in his last fight, I mean, he showed me some legitimate cardio concerns, as well as kind of the inability to handle a clinch takedown approach from somebody who's going to put that pressure on him. He does average 2 takedowns a fight in his own right. It is a small 3-fight sample size, of course, but it does show me that he has that aspect to his game. He's not just completely one-dimensional. As well, being a Eastern European, you got to kind of assume you have some of that ability in you. Devonte Smith, on the other hand, he lost to Jamie Mullarkey back in October. Good footwork as well, good in and out movement as well. He's more of a patient striker. A lot of fakes, a lot of feints, always moving the head, always offering different angles with his strikes. Very diversified in his stand-up approach. Very sneaky calf kick as well. But most importantly with him, he's a very accurate striker. He can be explosive as well. Definitely has, fight-changing power, has that one-punch type of power to his name. Both of these fighters are coming off of losses that did expose them a little bit. These are 2 fighters that I probably thought were a little bit better until their most recent performances. And this one makes it really tough because, again, 2 fighters with similar strengths. But I have to side with Devonte Smith here. Although Klein, I think, should be really hungry in this fight, although I think this is definitely a 50-50 fight where both guys have the same strengths, and that 50-50 logic would almost tell you to go with the underdog in Ľudovít Klein. Ľudovít Klein, has just maybe disappointed me a bit more. He shouldn't have lost to Nate Landwehr. He didn't really show me that it factor in that fight, and he showed me a lot of quit. I mean, I feel he tapped kind of quick in that, and to even kind of get himself in that position was really disappointing as well. I also feel Devonte Smith has the power advantage here, or again, the fight-changing punch advantage here. I feel his striking is maybe more effective, regardless of whose striking you think is better. Like I said, truly a 50-50 fight, that logic would almost tell you to go with the underdog. But I want to go with Devonte Smith here. Power advantage, fight-changing punch advantage, and they match each other in striking, if you ask me. So I'm going Devonte Smith on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough fight. Just looking at their last fight, it's hard to kind of trust either fighter here. Like Ľudovít Klein, he showed us his heart, his cardio, and in his last fight, he didn't have it. He lost to a guy that he was much better than. He was one of the biggest favorites on the card, and he got destroyed. And the way he lost that fight, it was pretty embarrassing, being such a big favorite. And when you look at Devonte Smith, we know he has been knocked out a couple of times. So we know that his chin is not the best. So this is a fight that you can't feel confident either way. But one thing that sticks out for me is Ľudovít Klein's moving up in weight here for this fight. He's a featherweight, so he's going to be fighting at 155. Devonte is going to be the bigger guy here. And Ľudovít Klein, you just got to be careful of that high kick, that left high kick. I'm sure he can throw it the right if he has to, but he has that left high kick that lands. He has a couple of knockouts with that kick. Devonte Smith needs to be careful. That's his signature. But he's pretty rudimentary in his striking, but he's really good at what he does. Like as far as his striking goes, he has the 1-2, he has the hands. He looks for the home run shot. He's a very accurate striker. He has that left kick. But I just think Devonte Smith, he's going to have the length here, taller fighter, bigger guy. He should get this done here. But again, can't feel confident here. His chin is weak. But again, we know Ľudovít Klein has questions as well. The guys he's fought, there's a lot of question marks. So I'm going to go Devonte Smith here, the more proven guy at this point.
All right, let's move on to fight number 3. And in fight 3, we have Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Tim Elliott, he lost to Matheus Nicolau in October. His MO stays the same at this point. You know, he has that relentless style. He's going to be looking for the takedown. He has that awkward and unorthodox style of stand-up. A lot of movement, a lot of fakes, a lot of level changes. And again, he's going to keep putting that pressure on you, even if you're hitting him. You know, he's definitely going to look for that takedown. He lands almost 4 of them per fight. When he does get that takedown, because he does in almost every fight, he's relentless on top, good chain wrestling, and he has the grappling to go along with it as well. You know, he's one of those people, you know, he's a tough matchup for anyone, regardless of what his record states. He's going to be one of those guys that you can't take lightly if he's your opponent. He's taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. Ulanbekov is on a 5-fight win streak. He beat Jalin Nascimento via split decision in October. He's introduced as a wrestler and a grappler. The striking is good. I think it's clean. He controls center, puts that forward pressure on you, has a solid jab that he uses very often, and a decent counterpuncher with a solid calf kick as well. And of course, he has that strong smothering Russian style of wrestling otherwise. So I don't really need to go into that about what he offers there. What makes me favor Tagir in this one a lot, first of all, I see the odds at -230. I know Tim Elliott's tough, but what really makes me favor Tagir here is that he has the same strengths that Tim Elliott has. He has the wrestling that Tim Elliott has. Of course, being Russian, his wrestling is probably better. He has the grappling to negate or at least not be threatened by Tim Elliott's grappling ability. Tagir also showed me that, again, he's not threatened by a high-level grappler when he took on Jalin Nascimento. And Jalin Nascimento is somebody who has trained with Charles Oliveira. So, you know, as a result, I don't think he feels threatened by Tim Elliott's wrestling or Tim Elliott's grappling. I think Tagir is also the cleaner striker, of course, technically on the feet. I think he's the better striker on the feet. And also, you know, in Khabib, we trust from a coaching perspective. So, I mean, I like Tagir here for a lot of reasons, most importantly, because the type of guys that Tim Elliott does beat are the type of guys that can't match with the strengths that Tim Elliott has. In this fight, Tagir Ulanbekov matches up with those perfectly. He's younger, and I feel he's better in the strengths that Tim Elliott has. So I'm going Tagir Ulanbekov in this one.
Yeah, Tim Elliott's 35 now. We know Khabib's going to be in Tagir's corner. One thing about the Dagestan guys, if you put money on these guys, you know that they're gonna fight for you. They're gonna definitely go at it, and your money is gonna be well represented when you put money on these guys. He's one of the guys at the bottom, but again, he's in a division. I think he's one of the only guys in this division from that team. So I think this is a spot that I think we can actually win this fight. I like him in this spot here, just like you do. I think he's the better wrestler. My only concern is in his previous fights, he kind of makes them look pretty close. even though he's the better guy in the match, you can clearly see it. For some reason, sometimes the fights get close. The fighters get up when he has them down, or he can't get him down, then he has to resort to his striking. Luckily, in this fight, Tim Elliott, I don't think has a knockout power unless he does one of those spinning things. But I like Tagir. I think he's a good parlay piece as well. He's a well-rounded guy. He's going to have the better wrestling. He's going to have Khabib in his corner. He's going to represent well for you. He's not going to go out there, get tired, and lose the fight because of cardio. So I'm going to go Tagir. I think that grappling is going to be a big thing in this fight. He's going to be able to avoid the submissions and win a decision here because Tim Elliott is not easy to put away.
Moving on to fight number 4, and speaking of Khabib, we have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Brian Kelleher. For Umar Nurmagomedov, he beat Sergey Morozov just over a year ago, January 2021. He can fight in both stances. He's pretty crafty with his stand-up, sneaky strikes, sneaky angles. I like his head kick. I think he's really light on the feet. Has some good fakes as well. And I mean, again, kind of like what I was saying with Tagir Ulanbekov, I don't really have to go in depth with what he's able to do on the ground. He's a Sambo world champion, right? So he is exactly who you'd think he'd be on the ground. His takedown entries are really good, relentless with the chain wrestling and everything else that we know of these Dagestani fighters, these Khabib fighters. Taking on Brian Kelleher, who's on a 2-fight win streak at this point. So, I mean, he's definitely feeling good about himself. He beat Kevin Kroom. That wasn't too long ago. That was January, just a couple months ago. He's tough, decent stand-up, definitely willing to exchange. Good left hook, good, decent calf kick, I should say. Wouldn't say he's the highest quality striker, though, but he can definitely hold his own. He can definitely make it dirty. And you got to respect his power as well as his finishing ability as more of an overarching theme. 24 professional wins, which is quite a bit. 18 of those are finishes. 8 of them are via KO, TKO, 10 of them are via submission. Really likes to look for that guillotine opportunity, has a number of guillotine finishes on his record as well. In general, I don't think he's a strong wrestler per se, but he won't hesitate to shoot or look for clinch opportunities. But you know what, I won't make this prediction long here. It's almost the exact same way that I feel about the Tim Elliott fight, except I feel Kelleher, well, I kind of feel the same level of them in terms of toughness of opponent. Kelleher is tough, but again, I like Nurmagomedov everywhere here. I think he's a better striker. I think he's a stronger wrestler. I think he's more dangerous on the ground, better grappling. Kelleher, to me, only really has a puncher's chance. The difference between this fight and the previous fight when talking about Tim Elliott is that Tim Elliott maybe doesn't have that power that a Brian Kelleher does have. So, looking at another Dagestani fighter here that I feel really good about, except Brian Kelleher does have that puncher's chance. Minus 650 is a little steep, so I don't know if I'm throwing this on everything, but when I'm predicting this fight, at the very least 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with Umar Nurmagomedov every single time.
Yeah, this is a fight where Brian needs to knock him out. Let's be real. Umar is actually one of the better ones in that camp. His potential is really high. He has that grappling, but he's one of those guys that has really good striking. So I think he has a really, really high ceiling as far as MMA goes. Future champ, future contender for sure. I think this is a stepping stone for him. Brian Kelleher definitely can land that punch. He has the power. But I'm with you, man. Umar is better everywhere. Khabib's going to be in his corner. I think they're going to go 2-0 here. So I think it's going to be their second win of the night. So I'm going to go Umar to get it done. And I understand why the odds are like this. I don't think Brian really has a shot here. But again, this is MMA. But I think Umar is that good. Umar gets it done.
All right, let's move on to fight number 5. We have Marina Moroz taking on Mariya Agapova. For Moroz, she's on a 2-fight winning streak, although it's been almost 2 years since her last fight. She beat Mayra Bueno Silva way back in March 2020. Clean technical boxing, good head movement, good in and out movement, pretty light on the feet, good jab, good 1-2 combination specifically. She's really effective on the feet. She has some pop in her punches. She has good consistent pressure. And, most importantly, she's confident in her ability on the feet. Doesn't really have the statistical takedown numbers at all. You see only half a takedown per fight. You see only 18% accuracy. but it looks like it's something that she has been working on, something that she has been improving. And I think she's okay on top. Not a lot of positional improvements per se, but she is active enough with her ground and pound to, eat a few minutes on the ground, to score some points in the judges' eyes. That is something that she used in her last fight, versus a pretty solid striker in Mayra Bueno Silva. She's taking on, of course, Mariya Agapova, who beat Sabina Matzo back in October in what was kind of a return performance for her after a disappointing loss to Shana Dobson, I believe it was. She's introduced as a kickboxer. Before that loss, she was definitely considered a legitimate prospect. Good aggressive style of striking. You kind of, I wouldn't say compared her to, but someone who is or was her idol, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, where with that kind of relentless striking style. She has that aggressiveness to her. She's a southpaw. She throws good combinations. She fights from the outside. Good stick and move type of fighting as well. Has a good pace to her. Again, has some good pop in her strikes. Pretty dynamic with her striking as well. Her thing is more so volume and aggression more than technique per se. I actually feel that that's what could potentially hurt her in this fight. But her combinations are well timed, and again, she does have actually sort of underrated striking speed. So look for her to have really quick strikes in there. Very tough match for me. I'm seeing Agapova at -200. What I can say off the bat is I don't think that's worth it. I think this should be much closer to a pick'em. Maybe Agapova at -130 at most. In this situation, it might be a dog or pass if you're actually making a bet here. I actually feel like Moroz could have been the favorite. She is the cleaner striking, plus the introduction of takedowns that she's been doing recently. Agapova only has 33% takedown defense, and she's not balanced on the feet with her movement. So that's something that Moroz can definitely take advantage of and game plan for. I do feel Agapova is the more dynamic striker. I do feel she's the more dangerous striker of the two. But like I said, it's undeniable that Moroz's striking is cleaner technically and probably more effective. The thing, though, in this fight, and maybe this is me being a little bit biased towards Agapova, I still feel that kind of X factor with her. The speed, the counter striking, the dynamic movement. I did think at one point she could be a legitimate contender, and she might still be. She's only 24 years old. So again, like I said, there is some bias in my pick that I will admit to. I'm kind of more so going with my gut. I think the smarter pick might be Moroz, especially as a pretty sizable underdog. But my gut pick is going with Agapova. So I'm going to have to stick with that. I'm going Mariya Agapova, but a lot of cautionary flags here from a betting perspective. I'm probably looking at dog or pass.
Yeah, I don't think it's that close, man. I know this fight has some history with these two. I was reading about they were like roommates or something, and they hate each other now. This is like a John Jones, Colby Covington type of scenario. So this is a fight that the UFC put together. These girls don't like each other. You could look into it. I just kind of read a little bit of it, but basically they know each other. They were roommates somewhere, and now they're airing out dirty laundry about each other, and it's getting messy, right? So I think after I heard all that, so I just stopped reading. Point is, they don't like each other, so there's gonna be a lot of bad blood in this fight. I agree with a lot of points you mentioned in regards to Moroz, her activity, her pace. I think that's going to be key for her. I think she's going to need to get this to the mat. But I just think Mariya Agapova, I think she's going to have the better strikes, the better landing blows to swing some of the rounds. It could be a close fight that goes to a decision, a split decision type of fight, or even a fight Mariya gets a unanimous decision, because I think that she's going to have the more telling shots. And I think that's going to be a big thing when it comes to judging this fight. So I'm going to go Mariya Agapova. I think she's the better striker, the more dangerous striker. And I think if Mariya gets to fight on the feet, which I believe most of the fight will be on the feet. But again, Moroz has that ground ability. I think Mariya will keep it up because Moroz is not the best wrestler. I think Mariya is going to get the better of the stand-up. She might not strike more, but I think she's going to land the harder shots, the more accurate shots, the more the shots the judges are going to be looking at. and that's going to swing the fight her way. And she might even knock her out. She might even finish her. There's bad blood here. So one of these two might finish the other. So, but I like Mariya Agapova here to get this done.
All right, sixth fight of this prelim card. We have Nikolai Negumereanu taking on Kennedy Nzechukwu. For Negumereanu, he beat Ike Villanueva in October. Doesn't really have the best stand-up. You know, he definitely lacks some technique. Doesn't really have the best striking defense either. Those are going to be two keys to my prediction. But he is good at coming forward though. You know, puts on that constant pressure. He likes to engage. He has that toughness factor. Seems to have a chin too. And he's supposed to have wrestling. Haven't really seen it in the UFC yet. I think he has just one takedown landed in 3 UFC fights so far. But he is somebody that's supposed to have wrestling. So, I mean, maybe we see it against Kennedy Nzechukwu come Saturday. For Nzechukwu, he lost to Da Un Jung in November. Pretty disappointing performance there, or maybe just an impressive performance by Da Un Jung. He's a long southpaw. We see he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here, 5 inches in height as well. He has a very long jab, good 1-2 combinations down the middle, has some pop in his straight punches as well. He's still, you know, somewhat green, in my opinion. He is improving fight over fight, though. He'll stalk you down. He'll control center. He'll be coming forward. He does have decent movement to go along with that. Not really the most active striker, though, despite his significant striking numbers there. I don't find him to be the most active striker. He kind of throws one shot at a time. But like I said, definitely an improved striker with improved combinations. And this is somebody that could look, you know, a lot better in March than he did a few months ago in November. He does have 80% takedown defense on paper, although the ground game of his opponents have been an issue in the past in terms of him being controlled down there. You know, there are some flags with Kennedy Nzechukwu. Again, the low activity rate. Not sure how well he handles pressure. I think about that Da Un Jung fight. And I mean, you got to question his ability to take a shot after that Da Un Jung fight. If you recall that fight, you know, he was throwing elbows through Nzechukwu's guard. And, you know, or I should say Nzechukwu was blocking the elbows that were coming in. And it just took him out completely, completely knocked him out where the referee had to stop it. So, you know, that said, I think Nick Negumereanu has that style of stand-up that I can't really rely on at all. You know, I'd have to think that Kennedy will have moments on the feet here. I would also have to think that Kennedy's on-paper defense should be good enough to stop any takedown attempts from Nick, at least based on what I've seen from him at the UFC level. So, I mean, I don't think it's the smartest pick because both of these fighters, I should say, are a bit unreliable. But I think I gotta have to go with Kennedy. I think I haven't seen this wrestling that Nikolai is supposed to have. And because I haven't seen it, I can't assume that it's an advantage that he will have in his fight. And on the feet, I think Kennedy is better. So I'm going to go with Kennedy and Nzechukwu on this. Of course, light heavyweight fight, anything can happen. Anyone can win. But my pick will be Kennedy and Nzechukwu.
Yeah, man, this is really low. I think this is pretty low level, man. Kennedy, I'm not high on Kennedy. I know a lot of people are. I'm not really high on him at all. Nick, I'm not high on that guy either. When I look at Nick, though, one thing that stands out, I can't ignore is he hasn't really fought anyone. Even the two guys he fought in the UFC are at the bottom. Ike Villanueva, Alexa Kamor. And he lost to Safarov. Like these are the bottom of the bottom in terms of UFC level. And prior to that, he's fighting guys with losing records or 3 or 2 fights. And so his opposition is clearly sketchy. And when he did fight someone, again, Safarov is not good, but when he fought Safarov, he got destroyed, but that was his first fight. He beat Kamor. He looked good there. He beat Ike Villanueva, who should not be in the UFC. So I'm not really sure what he's about. I'm not sure where he's at in terms of like how good he is. Now in his last fight, he definitely showed improvement with the striking. They say he has a wrestling like you. I haven't really seen much of I've seen some grappling attempts. I've seen some wrestling, but it doesn't look that good. Man, I think this is going to be on the feet. I think Kennedy's going to be hungry to rebound. He doesn't have the best IQ here going toe-to-toe with that fighter, Da Ung Jung. They were just like, punch me, you punch me, you punch me, you punch me. It was hit for hit, and Kennedy went down. It was a stupid fight, but that's really what happened. It was two guys standing in front of each other, trading punch for punch or elbow for elbow. But I think Kennedy, being the bigger guy, a lot of the fight's going to be striking. I think at some point he's going to connect here, and he's fought the better guys. He hasn't fought the best guys, but he definitely fought better guys than Nick here. So I'm going to go Kennedy here to get this done. Being the bigger guy, better striking. I agree you should be able to negate some of the takedowns. But as the fight goes on, second, third round, Kennedy gets live. And that's a point where Nick won't be able to get the takedowns, or he shouldn't be able to get the takedowns. And the reach is going to come and play there. So I'm going to go Kennedy to get it done.
All right, let's move on then to fight number 7. This is probably a fight that could make it to the main card if there is no replacement for that Rafael dos Anjos fight. We're looking at Marina Rodriguez versus Yan Xiaonan. Rodriguez is on a 3-fight win streak. She had a pretty good performance versus Mackenzie Dern back in October. A Thai boxing type of style, dynamic, high-level striker. She's pretty methodical. She picks her shots really well. She has good accuracy, great striking diversity, great counter-punching. Definitely one of the best strikers in the division, at least in my opinion. I think she has really good combinations as well as good distance control, knowing when to come in and put pressure, knowing when to kind of take a step back and reassess things. She likes the control center of the octagon from that perspective as well. Good Thai clinch, good knees in the clinch. Definitely somebody who's a dangerous stand-up artist for sure. But she's going up against a fellow dangerous stand-up artist in Yan Xiaonan. She lost to Carla Esparza in May. No shame there. Esparza's a wrestling beast and beats everyone with her wrestling. Good striker here. Good boxer specifically. She has a signature Chinese type of striking style where it's a lot of aggression. She puts a lot into her strikes. She comes forward with that constant pace, constant aggression, good jab, good combinations with her hands as well. Good 1-2 punch combinations. She will mix in some kicks, but she is primarily hands. I will say Yan is probably ranked a little bit higher than I thought. She's ranked number 4 in the UFC in the division. Marina is ranked number 3. This, to some degree, could be a title eliminator. Some people thought Marina Rodriguez could get a title shot soon. So this could be a fight that kind of puts her in that position. Yan is coming off of a loss, however, of course, to Esparza, who is obviously ranked number 2 in the division. Ground games won't matter here. I think this is a fight that will stay on the feet. It is important to note Yan probably is the better wrestler, landing 1 takedown per fight. She does have that ability. Marina Rodriguez has a good guard, doesn't take too much damage, but she is somebody who has been placed on her back. So if there is a ground advantage, it probably goes to Yan in terms of scoring points. My prediction doesn't really require much thought, though. I think Yan is the more aggressive striker, but I think Rodriguez is the far more diverse striker. I think Rodriguez is also the better striker overall. I think she's the more methodical striker. I think she's the more effective striker. And I actually think she will be able to use Yao Xiaonan's aggression to her advantage to land great counterpunching opportunities. I'm expecting a high-level performance from both of these fighters, but again, especially with the counterpunching and especially with the accuracy of her strikes as well as the diversity in her strikes, I really like Marina Rodriguez in this spot. Yan is a good opponent, but Marina to me is just at a little bit of a higher level. So I'm going Marina Rodriguez on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This fight, if Zhao and Yan didn't lose her last fight to Esparza, this fight would be a lot closer in terms of the odds. What are the odds in this fight?
Marina's a pretty sizable favorite, tipping to -300, kind of in the -250 area.
Okay, so I'm going to make my pick live because I've been going back and forth on this pick. When I look at Marina Rodriguez, she definitely is a pressure fighter. She knows how to move her feet. She knows how to pressure the fighter as the fight goes on. Dirty in the clinch, really good elbows, and she is the more violent fighter. She is, she's very violent, and she has that one shot kill that can definitely cause problems in this spot and in this fight. She has really good kicks, good body kicks, good knees, good elbows, good footwork, moving in and out. She doesn't have the best defensive striking. She doesn't move her head a lot. I guess that's the Muay Thai in her. When I look at Jan, I think she's the better boxer. I think she's gonna have. She has some striking as well. Jan is a really, really good striker. She's a striker first. And one thing I like about Jan is she throws combos. When she throws one, she throws two, then three. And these are things that, if it goes to a decision, are going to benefit her. She's very active. I think she's the more active striker out of the two. And Marina's a very active striker, but it just shows you how active Jan is. And the thing is, she can do that for 3 rounds. And we've seen her have a high output in the 3rd round. We know Marina can go 5 rounds. We know Marina is the queen of the 5 rounds because the thing about Marina, though, is when you look at her record, she's fighting a lot of fighters that they grapple. They're not really strikers first. The best striker she's fought was over the hill karate hottie. That was the best striker, Michelle Watterson. And aside from that, she's fighting grappler after grappler. And then what happens in those fights is she stops the takedowns, maybe at the beginning or the 2nd round, then she takes over the fight. When you look at Xiaonan Yan, she's fought a bit tougher strikers, in my opinion. And she's fought, I believe it was Claudia Gadelia, and she's fought Angela Hill. I'm not even going to count Karolina Kowal-Kuwitz. I'm not even going to count her. Vivian Piera. So she's fighting these strikers, and she's getting the job done. Now, when you look at Marina, she's doing really well, though, because she can negate some of the grappling with those grapplers, get on the feet. But this is a completely different fight. This fight, if any grappling does go on, Yan's going to be the grappler. She got 5 takedowns in one of her fights against, I think it was Carolina. In that fight, she got 5 takedowns, 5 or 6 takedowns. She has a good body lock takedown, and I think that she can get that against Marina being so skinny. She's not that physically imposing when you grab her. That I think Yan's gonna be able to get some takedowns in this fight if she needs to. And when you look at the striking, she can outpoint Marina. I believe Yan's the more technical striker here. I believe Marina's the more vicious striker. But I think Jan is more technical. I think Jan is going to be able to put on a pace, get more strikes per minute, land more strikes, and she yells every time she lands. So it tells the judges, "Hey, I just landed a punch." I like Jan in this spot here. Pull off an upset in this spot here. I just believe that if Jan didn't lose to a wrestler, the odds here would be really close to even, or she might have been favorite. But because she lost to a wrestler, the odds are this widespread, and she's fighting a striker. So the wrestling match, the wrestling fighter, or the fight you have with the wrestler has nothing to do with this fight, because Marina's not going to go in there to wrestle Jan. I like Jan in this spot. I think you're getting good value here as an underdog. So I'm going to go Jan here, pull off the upset. I think she can outwork Marina in striking, and I think she can land the better shot. So I'm going to go Jan to get pull this off.
Great points mentioned on the side of the underdog. Let's go on to the final fight of the prelims. We have Jalin Turner versus Jamie Mullarkey. For Jalin Turner, he's on a 3-fight win streak. He beat Uros Medic back in September. Very tall for the division, 3-inch height advantage, 3-inch reach advantage as well. He's a southpaw, very long in his striking, clean striking as well. Quick hands, quick combinations. He diversifies his striking approach. Very dynamic striker, definitely a good talent in this lightweight division. You know, he's methodical. He's more of a technical kickboxer than anything else. He does come forward. He marches the opponents down. He's patient, really calculated as well. And I mean, he lands a takedown per fight at 75% accuracy. It looks like he's improving a lot with his wrestling in terms of his top control. And more importantly, a respectable 78% takedown defense. Which could be very relevant for this fight. Taking on Jamie Mullarkey, of course, who beat Devonte Smith. We talked about him earlier in our prelim card prediction. He moves around a lot in the stand-up. He has a decent jab, good head movement, good level changes, serviceable stand-up. That's kind of the level that I would put him at. His boxing combinations do look improved. His striking defense looks improved as well. But I can't yet call him a good striker per se. He does have good power though. 10 of his 15 wins are via KO, TKO. But this is a fighter who is pretty much a wrestler first. We see there 3.5 takedowns per fight. He's eventually going to shoot for the takedown. He's eventually going to try to clinch against the cage. Despite his wrestling ability, I noticed that he doesn't really have the best takedown defense, which actually could be very interesting in this fight, as I mentioned with some of Jalin Turner's takedown ability. It's a good matchup here. I think Turner has the much better stand-up, but I think Mullarkey has really improved on the feet in his last couple of fights. I mean, I thought his last fight versus Devonte Smith, I thought Devonte Smith would have a clear striking advantage, but that wasn't the case. Jalin Turner, of course, a much different striker than Devonte Smith is. Mullarkey does have the better wrestling, so there is very valid reason to pick Mullarkey here, and it definitely explains why the odds are as close as they are. But I think this is one of those fights where the actual result is going to be a lot different than the on-paper analysis. On paper, a lot of reasons to go with Mullarkey. Improved stand-up, took on a good striker in his last fight, and basically outstruck him, plus the wrestling advantages he will have. But, I mean, I see Turner kind of having an easy time here. And again, this might be a gut pick more than anything, but I do see Jalin Turner having a great performance here, a performance that really will put him on the map. He might hurt Jamie Mullarkey. He might show some takedown ability of his own. As I mentioned, Mullarkey doesn't have the best takedown defense. But I'm really liking Jalin Turner in the spot. Bit more of a gut pick than anything because, again, valid reasons to go with Mullarkey. But I'm going Jalin Turner all the way on this one.
Yeah. This is tough where it should be tough, but Jamie Mullarkey, he's getting a lot of love because of his last fight. He was losing that fight. He lost the first round. Who was it against? Devonte Smith, I believe.
Yep.
And then Devonte Smith, I'm not sure what happened in that second round. Like, it was night and day. But he was losing that fight. And Jalin Turner, I think, can do the same thing. I don't think he's gonna quit like Devonte Smith did in that spot, because I think Jalin Turner has more of a grappling basis than Devonte Smith. I believe that Jalin Turner had the striking advantage like Devonte had, but I think when it comes to the grappling, yes, Jamie Mullarkey should be the better grappler here. But I believe that when you look at Turner, when you see him, when he does want to grapple, this guy can get takedowns. This guy's a sneaky good grappler, and I wouldn't be surprised he gets a takedown here. If Jamie gets him down, I can see it happening in the first round, but as the fight goes on, I don't see that happening continuously. And I'm not even sure he's going to get Jalin down. I'm sure Jalin has good takedown defense, and he's only getting better with his grappling. If you watch his last fight, he utilized the grappling to get the win because that's what he needed to do. So he's definitely showing that he could have stood up with the other fighter. The other fighter was a striker, but he's showing his IQ. He's showing his improvements as a fighter. He's showing that he's taking it more serious by just taking this guy to the ground. I think in this fight, he's well equipped to beat Jamie Mullarkey. I think Jamie's getting a lot of love because of the Devonte fight. But if you watch that fight, yes, it does show Jamie does have the grit, does have the heart. He does have that dog in him. And those are his strongest attributes when it comes to this fight. And he does have wrestling, but his wrestling is not that level. It's not that level. Okay, that's all I can say. It's not Kevin Lee's level. It's not George St. Pierre's level. It's not that level. That's all I got to say about that wrestling. And I think Jalin Turner has seen that before. He can negate a lot of those takedowns, use that reach. The clinch, he's going to be dangerous in the clinch. He's going to be dangerous at range. Like, he's going to be the better striker all around. I see Jalin getting this done here. He should get it done. I don't think it's going to be a tough fight. I just think Jamie's getting a lot of recognition because of his last fight, which, again, it was a good win. But let's be honest, he squeaked by that win. Devonte quit. So, but again, I'm not taking nothing away from Jamie. He's a good fighter. but I've seen him get schooled in the ring, and I seen him get outclassed in rounds. And I can see Jalin Turner doing the exact same thing. And I can see Jalin Turner not quitting. He's showing that, like he's showing the heart now. So I'm gonna go Jalin Turner with the new IQ. Get this win, the better skilled fighter. He should get it done.
All right, let's take it to Vegas at that point. We have 8 fights to choose from on this prelim card, at least as it's stated right now. In terms of Underdog, who are you taking a look at?
Let me roll with Yan.
Yep, Xiaonan, a good value there, plus 200, hovering in that area. So definitely some good money can be made. And again, some valid points on how she can beat Marina Rodriguez. For me, I hate when all of my picks end up on the side of favorites. It's not intentional. I review fights before I look at the odds. And then it just kind of ends up the way it does. This time around, unfortunately, I do have all favorites. I don't expect that to go perfect. But when I'm analyzing it fight by fight, that's just where I ended up. If I think about which underdog has maybe the best shot of winning, I'm going to have to think about my Marina Moroz. Again, although Agapova, again, has that X factor, I think there are some points in Moroz's game where she can take advantage of, specifically taking it to the ground with Agapova's lack of takedown defense. So Moroz will be my underdog pick, should I have to choose one. Now, in terms of favorites, who are you taking a look at?
Let me roll with Dustin Jacoby, Tagir Ulanbekov, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Mariya Agapova.
All right, so those 4 fights would be a plus 256. That means $100 will pay $356, and for our bigger bettors, $250 will return $890. For my parlay piece for the prelim card, I'm looking at a couple of fights. I am also looking at Umar Nurmagomedov. I am also looking at Tagir Ulanbekov. And the third fight I'm looking at is Marina Rodriguez. I feel really good about her in that spot. Bit more of a modest ticket there, only at a plus 120. $100 will return $220. For our bigger bettors, $250 will return $550. So definitely some money that could be made on this prelim card. We are going to sign off on that note. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. And most importantly, we want to hear from you in the comments. Let us know how you feel about our picks. Let us know who your underdog of the prelim card is. Let us know what parlay picks you're looking at, and let us know if you want us to provide you with any additional insight and analysis on anything specific that you're doing. But again, officially signing off on that note, we are Boxing MMA Picks. He goes by Zan. I go by Harris. This has been the prelim card prediction video for UFC 272, Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. And in our usual Boxing MMA Picks fashion, let's get this money.
Let's do it.